When you see the whole world shaking and you feel your heart is breaking, take my hand, no hesitating. When you're just so tired of trying, all alone you feel like hiding. Together we'll keep fighting. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Don't stop now. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna mountains too high we can climb it. Feel it, we're taking the moment. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Can you see the sun is shining like a new hope? Feel it rising, coming over the horizon. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Don't stop now. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna mountains too high we can climb it. Feel it, we're taking the moment. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Don't you give up, don't you give up on me. Don't you give up, don't you give up now. Don't you give up, don't you give up on me. Don't you give up, don't you give up now. Don't you give up, don't you give up on me. Don't you give up, don't you give up now. Don't you give up, don't you give up on me. Don't you give up, don't you give up now. There's no stopping.
Good evening. Well, it's actually not evening. It's 12, going on 12:30. I'm just pre-recording this because I want to do some things later. I always go live at 7 p.m. on Saturdays, and then I repeat the program again the following Saturday at 10 a.m. So it's August 5th, and I'm Chris Gajulo. I'm an associate broker and a licensed referral specialist for Realty Connect LLC. And this is my weekly podcast, Real Estate with Mr. G. And I have the company blog that goes along with this, I'm Real Estate with Mr. G .blog. Okay? And Mr. G is MRG. Not Mr. spelled out. And I'll actually have that tag up, the caption up a little bit later. But everything that we discuss, there are articles that are there during the week. The minimum of 5 articles published a week, and then a video, and sometimes more than one video. And I pick a topic from those 5 articles that I feel that's really apropos and to share with my audience to help you make the best decisions when it comes to purchasing or selling real estate. That's my goal, okay? I work for Realty Connect LLC, and basically the way this works, I do the marketing. If you see my information, you see my website, or my phone number, my email address. You could contact me. We could discuss about today's current real estate trends and the current real estate market. And when you are ready to purchase, you could go to my website, put in information, and you will be introduced to up to 3 agents. They will do the actual showing, excuse me, and listing of your property. And whichever agent you feel comfortable with, that's the one you go with. So you're getting a lot, okay? You're getting me with my 30 years experience within the real estate industry. And then you are getting another top producer, top agent in that field, that wherever you are looking to buy or sell your home. And it's a win-win situation. And there's no extra cost for using me, okay? Because I will get paid at closing at the end. So there's no additional percentages added on, no fees, no upfront fees. It's all good, okay? So with that in mind, let's show you my little intro video on that. Here's actually, I don't know if you could see it so well from there, but that's the my website. You could actually reach it by going to realestatewithmrg.us.com, and you should be able to get it. I noticed when I put that URL in an email or in the social media post, sometimes it doesn't go through. It has to be typed separately. Actually, the website to go through directly is realtyconnect.com, and then / Christopher Gajulo. Okay, my whole name. That's a lot. So I mean, that works perfectly. But you should be able to get it by doing my real estate with mrg.com or .us. US meaning the United States of America. Okay, so that's what I'm doing right now, and I enjoy doing it because I really enjoy marketing. Okay, I like being creative. I like doing videos. I like doing podcasts. I like posting on social media, and that area is getting really hot. You know, when it comes to finding leads, okay. Years ago, you know, it was always just posting in your newspaper or your local paper, you know, your flyers and that are used in the supermarkets, and the additional things what real estate people do. But the world of social media marketing is exploding, and as you all know, and it's growing every day. You know, like when computers first came out, maybe a computer will come out, and that computer will be good for maybe 5 years, and then you had to upgrade it, and you had to learn new systems, and going about working with your interfaces, your Windows 95 and 98, and then they got shorter. Okay, went from 5 years to about 3 years. That this is a complete overhaul of the system now. With social media, it's so quick. It's so quick. As soon as I think I learned something new, that's already not that so much out there is not being used, but there's something else. There's a new way to reach people. But it helps me keep young, right? To keep your mind going, to be fresh. So that's the good side about it. But anyways, that's how I could help you find your home or list your home in all 50 states. I think that's pretty cool. All right. So what we're going to talk about today, that's a good question. So let's get our person here to discuss or ask a question. And I think this is, I think it's Drea from Norfolk.
Good day, Mr. G, and thanks for allowing me on your weekly video podcast. I am considering buying a house or condo right now, but want to make sure I am ready. What recommendations can you give me to think about and prepare me for this big move? Any of your suggestions will be most appreciated. Your podcast is enjoyed by me, my family, and all my friends. Keep it going. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. And the name is Shreya. I apologize for misspelling it. All right, and that's actually a pretty fair question to ask. And how do you know if you're ready? Okay. And with today's market, it's kind of difficult, isn't it? I mean, we have. I was going to show this later, but let me add this to my screen right now. All right, we see that the mortgage rates tilt towards 7% as the 10-year Treasury yield jumps. Okay, that's from Housing Wire. That's more of a publication for people who are within the real estate and mortgage industries, and they share this information with their clients, right? So they're pushing 7% right now. They're at 6.9. I just saw a fast article where it dipped a little bit. And, of course, there's so many publications out there. So any type of movement out there, as soon as it hits up, there's like 10 reporting agencies talking about it. So it might have went down a little bit, but it's approaching near 7%, and that's a big change from 2 to 3 years ago when they were 3% or sometimes even below 3%. So we're talking about a 4% difference, and that's a lot of money added to your monthly mortgage payment. All right. So if you looked at a house, 3 years ago, and the interest rate was at 3%, and just say, your mortgage was around $1,200. Now, up 4%, it might be $1,800. It might be $2,000. So it's a big difference. So in today's market, with these also higher home prices, I'm going to show a video on home prices are rebounding. I had a podcast a couple of weeks ago, and it showed we discussed about prices home rebounding, and I questioned if that's actually good news, the way today's current market is. And I'll probably re-show this little whiteboard video I made on that. But with that in mind, let's close this out, and let's bring my PDF file for today. And comment, don't hide. Where are you? Okay. Show on stream, and it should be there. Oh, here it is. Okay. Took a second to hit in. All right. So how do you know if you're ready to buy a home? And that's a really pretty decent question to ask. Okay. So I had highlighted this stuff here before something happened. Okay, if you're deciding to buy a home, there's probably a lot on your mind, and you have to deal with today's mortgage rates, home prices, which are pretty high right now, and the limited supply of homes for sale, which is the reason why home prices are so high. So you have to juggle all these different items to help you make your decision. So let's look at this nice little quote here from Nerd Wallet. Housing market trends give important context, but whether this is a good time to buy a house also depends on your financial situation, life goals, and your readiness to become a homeowner. Instead of trying to time the market, it may help to focus on what you can control. And here are some questions to review. Now, this is a big one here. Do you have a stable job? All right. It always helps if you have at least a year's experience or background in one type of job, and banks probably would like to see a little bit longer than that. So let me give you an example. If you are, let's say, a teacher, and most people, if they made a decision to go into teaching, they made it for a long-term occupation. All right. And going back to New York, where we had a strong union, it was very clear, when you started teaching there, and they had the wage tables. And if you're there after a year, you got a certain increase, and after 2 years, you got a certain increase. You got longevity increases, and so the banks know, hey, that's it's all structured, and that's a pretty good job and stable job. If you're a police officer, if you're military, if you're a doctor, that's really good. Now, I'm not saying other industries are not stable, but these are examples where there's no question that it is. But it really depends on your background. If you're going from one type of job to the other, okay, and it's switching every 6 months, the banks may not feel comfortable with that. They like to see longevity at one job, or a job that's like within your context of your last jobs. All right. So if you went to school for media communications, and all your jobs have been in that field, that's a good sign. You're not jumping around in different fields. Okay. So they look for that, and that's very important, because they want to know for sure. I mean, you're going to have this mortgage, for at least 30 years if you don't pay it off sooner, right? So that, that time period, you have a job and you could pay it off. So ask yourself, have I been in this position now for a while? Has it been about a year? Does it look like I'm going to stay in it? Okay, do I really enjoy my job and I want to not move around? So that's the decision you have to make. Then what's next, that's very important, is you have to figure out what you can afford. And in all my years of doing real estate, that's the biggest hurdle to have buyers to reach, or to commit to, because one morning a potential buyer wakes up and says, I think I'm ready to buy a house, and they call an agent and they say, I want to see this and this, and they have a whole bunch of houses to look at, and they haven't been pre-qualified. Let's put pre-qualified first, because there is a difference between pre-qualified and pre-approved. Pre-qualified is when you call a mortgage loan officer on the phone, you tell them how much you make, they run your credit report, and they say, based upon this, we could pre-qualify you. When you're pre-approved, you actually went to the office that loan officer brought in your W-2s, you brought in your last 2 years tax returns, you're showing all your income, and if you have income from other sources, you're showing everything. It's in hard copy, right? And they look at the numbers, they send it to underwriting, which the underwriter will double check everything and make sure that all I's are dotted and all T's are crossed. And then they say, okay, you're pre-approved. Everything is good here. Okay? But not only is that pre-approval is important, then they will say, well, you could look for a home up to $350,000. And this way, you avoid looking at homes, $400,000 and higher. And this way, you're not wasting your time, and you're not wasting the time of the agent. All right. And what they add here with all of the mortgages we have. So many people believe that you have to put down 20% for your home, and it's great if you can. The more money you put down, the less money you're financing, so your mortgage payment is lower. You may not need the private mortgage insurance, which is another charge. So it's great if you're able to do that. But if you can't, you could purchase a home with 3 to 5%, depending on the program that the mortgage loan officer has for you. All right. And then there's also grants that will help you pay for your closing costs, your down payments, and there are loans. For example, in Virginia, we have the first-time homebuyers program where you could finance your down payment and or your closing costs. So there's a lot of good plans out there. And then you should consider how long I'm going to live there. Okay? And if you're going to live there, 3 or more years, that's a lot better than maybe a year or two, because if you have to sell in 2 years and the cost that you paid for closing costs, if they weren't financed or paid by the previous seller, you most likely will have to come out of pocket with your paying your commissions and your closing costs. If you wait 3 years, 4 years, hopefully there's enough built up equity that those costs are covered once you sell. Okay? So these are the things you should consider, all right, when you are going to purchase. Okay? Here basically this sort of summarizes it. Buying a home is a good idea if you're planning to stay put for at least 3 years. Home values typically increase between 2 and 5% annually, so you could end up paying more in closing costs than you earned in proceeds if you sell after a year or two. All right? And there should be, I think that's the finalization. Bottom line, if you're trying to decide if you're ready to buy a home, these questions can help. But ultimately, your best and most reliable source is the help of a trusted real estate professional like Chris Godchullo. All right. Now, I'm moving along faster now because I keep on getting disconnected and I have to splice a program together. So I'm trying to move along before, it may go down again. Okay. So I'm going to show now my video on home prices. So yes, home prices are rebounding, and that's a good thing if you're a seller, and it's a good thing if you're a seller that could find buyers who could afford your new home at these higher mortgage rates. Okay, so it's better. Like for instance, it's a great idea that these rates are going up. The home price is going up. But with today's conditions, if no one's going to buy your house or could afford your house, how good is that these prices are still going up at this time of the mortgage rates that have more than doubled. All right, and so you're lowering, or your buying pool is getting smaller and smaller. So it's better to have something than nothing. Okay, so yeah, I could make all this profit, but if it's lessening the amount of people that could buy it, and it stays longer on the market, is that such a good thing? And I had a little, and what's happening too, and that's causing the smaller supply of homes, because people who bought their homes at a 2.8, 2.75 mortgage, and they're thinking about, all right, I'd like to get a bigger home, but I paid 2.75, but now it's close to 7%. And of course, if I'm moving into a bigger home, the price of the home is going to be bigger. Do I want to leave right now? Do I want to have this larger mortgage payment than I had before? So all of these things come into play. Okay? All right. So just as a reminder, on my blog, I have that's not it. Hold on. I have the ways to overcome affordable challenges in today's housing market. Exactly what we're talking about right now. It's good stuff. Good stuff. So that's the buyer's guide and the seller's guide. The big advantage of you sell now. So it's showing both sides, and these are nice things to read about when you are either thinking of buying or selling. And you go and you're saying to yourself right now, where do I find these wonderful things here? And you go to my website, and you go to realestatewithmrg.blog/resource materials. But if you just go to realestatewithmrg.blog, you'll see the menus for that, and you click the tab, and you get it, and you can download it for free. Good stuff. But then you still contact Prisca Jullo to help you find a list of homes. All right? Okie doke. Actually, I'll leave that up there for a second. And let's see, we'll get rid of this right now. And I think I covered everything I wanted with my problem with my losing connection. But I believe from our producer, Isabella, that we might have a special guest in the audience.
Good day, Mr. G, and thanks for allowing me.
That was the wrong person. I'm sorry. I believe we have a special guest in the audience.
Mr. G, great news. We have a famous performer in the audience. Originally from Warsaw, Poland, this performer practiced her acrobatic skills as a young child in her elementary schoolyard. After performing for various Polish circuses, she migrated to America and lived in a small studio apartment in Coney Island, where she still practiced her art and performed at local JC's and a regular guest on The Joe Franklin Show. Ladies and gentlemen, Adele Fagenbaum.
Okay, that was wonderful that she was in the audience. Thank you. That's the show for today. I hope it was helpful with your decision making if I'm ready to buy a home. All right. So we'll see you next week. Enjoy the nice weather we're having now. It's comfortable, but next week it's going to be hotter. So be with family and friends, and I'll see you next time, okay? And always remember, the greatest power we have is to love, and the greatest gift each other. And I'll see you next week. Thank you.